lair. I'm deep within the lair where the lizard folk are grabbing a bite to eat and a bit of rest and recuperation between combats. Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hi there. Now, can I just sit anywhere? Okay, great, thank you. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, thanks very much. Now.
Can I get you anything, sir?
Well, these are delicious. What do I need?
Those are lips, sir.
Oh.
Perhaps Sir would like some toad in the hole.
Oh, yes, yummy. That would be... maybe not. Maybe I'll just have a little bit of night warbler. Oh,
Actually, that's the one from the programme.
Margaret. Well, maybe I'm not so hungry.
Oh, right.
May I just take this moment to thank you for listening. We very much appreciate it. And to remind you to rate and review our show on your podcast app of choice, be that Apple Podcasts or Beyond Pod or Stitcher or whatever.
All right, here we go.
Oh, yeah, and I think I need to... Yes, I'm being moved on. I think I better get moving. Okay, so let's get on with episode 36 of the Billowing Hilltop podcast. Super scaly, fragile lizards' eggs become ferocious.
Hold the word. Here we go. One more sound.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello.
Evening.
Hello. Hello.
Oh, yes. Going native. Talking like the lizard people now. Jolly good.
What to
with the cut glassy accents.
Yes.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes.
Lizard folk, hello.
We are all in black and white and smoking pipes.
So in today's mailbag,
Oh, mailbag.
Oh, mailbag. Ooh.
yeah,
Excellent. Yes.
I don't
We're
have
ready.
anything. I don't have anything to read out because.
Do
I
we
can't
need a
read
sound
Russian.
for you? Do we need an intro jingle for the mailbag?
Gong. I think we should have. It's a rustling sound, but we seem to have attracted quite a significant audience from Russia. So I wish I could read what they write to me, but there's a lot of them. I'd just like to thank them and welcome them.
Significant following. Are we talking double digits?
Well, I receive probably about 2 or 3 emails from Russia a day. Sometimes you can spot the odd word Viagra and other medicines.
Thanks.
Yeah.
The fact that the only Russian word you know is Viagra, Paul, probably explains why you were deported.
Dindy.
Zdravstvuyte. It's the only word I know.
Before we start, Mike, I do have a confession to make. You remember in book 1, way back when in book 1, where I had the thunderclap spell and I killed that worm with the thunderclap spell.
Yeah.
And then realised that actually it was just a 5-foot range, not a 100-foot range, that one. Well, Graham, I think Graham is a bit put out by the football, obviously, and is feeling a bit aggrieved. So he decided to raise the point about the casting time of Lemon's tiny hut, which I'm ashamed to say.
When did that happen? I missed that. Did I miss that conversation? Or...
You missed that conversation, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not quite what I might have played.
What is it?
It's a minute
Just a fraction longer than
an action.
A minute.
I think you know someone.
I'm really sorry, but
You think you know someone. Well, we're going to get letters. That's what the Russian letters are.
Well, I mean, the point is, I'm setting a precedent here because this is not the first time that I've made such a mistake. Obviously, the thunderclap. So, but no, I'm surprised that we didn't have a deluge of complaints.
Well, we might have done, but of course, because that episode won't go out until the next year. So.
Something to look forward to.
Then. Complaints, right?
Yeah, that's very true.
Tonight's beer, Paul,
Yes.
is from you. You bought it for me for my birthday.
Oh.
It's a Big Smoke New England juicy hazy IPA, and it's absolutely delicious.
Yeah, very good there. Big Smoke Brew.
Yeah, it's really good. Thanks very much.
Pleasure.
For my present.
Mm-hmm. I'm having port scratchings. And Thornbridge.
You can get a cream for that. Where we left things, we left things at rather a juncture. We are with our heroes at the lair of the lizardfolk, the Twisted Branch tribe of lizardfolk in the Mistmarsh. And our heroes have ventured there to try and rescue a battle mage who was captured at a local fortress called Blackwall Keep. And our heroes have become separated from each other. Sessions, Epa, and Parker have followed a figure who seems to be the sort of spirit leader, priest of this tribe. One of the lizard folk called Hillary. Hillary has led Parker and Sessions through a secret underwater passageway into the lair and then on into the egg chamber where the lizard folk incubate the next generation of their tribe. And we'll come back to that in a moment. Meanwhile, Cuthbert and Burple and Uncle Buggy have been involved in a fight outside the lair and have hidden themselves away inside Lemon's tiny hut. They have slain the king of the lizard folk, King Charles II.
Yes.
They have seen off, or rather they have protected themselves from, one of the lizard folk who seem to have been infested by these awful green worms and have turned into some nasty undead horror. But as they were dragging the body of King Charles II into their Lemon's tiny hut shelter, one of the lizard folk emerged from the lair calling for their aid. Anushka, who Sessions and Parker had met earlier when they were first led into the lair by Hillary. So it's possible that all of our little groups of heroes can reunite. Now, let's go back to the egg chamber. As we left things last time, Parker and Sessions and Hillary and some of the other lizard folk were in the lair, and our heroes discovered that there were a set of guardians left to guard the egg chamber by another figure, somebody called Ilthane, that Hillary tells our heroes is a black dragon who had left their egg in the lizard folk egg chamber as a symbol of goodwill and trust. When the lizard folk ran into the chamber, they found that the guardians had turned on them, and a little fight ensued. They saw off most of these little winged guardians, but just as they did so, the large black dragon egg, sitting amongst all the lizard folk eggs in the
Egg chamber.
Yeah, there's a word in the incubation pool, split open at its top, and hundreds, thousands of little green worms slithered out through the opening in its top, started slithering down its sides and into the pool.
Ugh.
Right, we start with Parker on 18. It's your round, Parker. There's one of these little winged guardians left. There is a selection of extremely refined lizard folk with cut glass accents, and this egg that's opened up with worms spilling out of it. What would you like to do?
I'm flummoxed.
Right.
Run away.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was rather hoping that this egg wasn't going to open up for another couple of rounds because I would have put it in the handy haversack.
It's quite big, this thing.
But
You're not sure that it would fit in the
I
handy
wouldn't have
haversack.
fitted in the handy haversack. Never mind.
You don't- I mean,
it's immaterial now because obviously
It's
it's
immaterial.
crawling with worms.
They're not going to move very fast, are they? I mean, it'll probably take them about 6 months to get to you.
Yeah, but that's not the problem, is it? The problem is they're going to infect all of these eggs. How fast are they moving, Mike? I mean, are they already crawling onto the eggs next to the lizard egg next to the big one? Or
No, you think that the all you've seen so far is the emergement. The 4, as it were, petals at the top of this black dragon egg have opened.
right?
These worms have slithered out and are running down the sides of the egg casing, but they're not yet in the pool and spreading.
Okay, so the first question is free action to. So I ask Hillary whether they have any area effect spells.
Well, I'm not sure. Yes, we've got to think quickly. One moment. Let me just quickly look at my PDF with my statistics and see what I have. One moment.
I'll get back to you, caller.
Yes. Well, you know, a fireball would be very effective. Could be useful.
I don't know.
Pull
I
that
don't
one
know
out
that
of
I
the
have
bag.
anything useful, and I must be very, very concerned about damaging the eggs.
Yes, but
Maybe we can rescue them from the pool.
you're going to have to sacrifice a portion of the eggs you currently have in order to save the rest of them.
I rather fear you may be right, Parker.
Sounds like Terry Thomas.
Yes, I'm wondering whether this is the trade-off that we're being forced to
Absolute shower.
consider. Oh, I say.
I think you're right. Perhaps I can think of something that would help. In fact, I may have just the very thing. As soon as the initiative clock counts round to my action.
Okay.
What else do you want to do in it, Parker?
The only thing I was considering is, and you'll have to give me a ruling on this,
Mm-hmm.
I have this feature, the unbroken air feature, which basically when on a creature, they have to make a save or they get pushed up to 20 feet away. The question would be, could I perform this on the egg?
I can't see why not. You might.
But I'm wondering whether
Yeah,
it
well-
might not make it all worse.
Well, I don't know if it might. Well, I don't know about worse. What it might do though is kind of knock it over and push it to the back of the cave or to the corner, but it's not going to remove it.
No,
Yeah.
but I'm wondering whether it would be better for it to be on the beach area at the back rather than in the middle of all the eggs. That's my only thinking.
For the benefit of our reader,
Yeah.
I should be clear with you, Lucas, that this egg is sitting, as it were, in an alcove in the northern section of the chamber. Assuming that you need a line, as it were, to push this thing away from you, I don't know that that's going to work because you're going to blast it into the wall, not blast it.
Okay.
I don't think you get to pick which way it moves.
In that case, I will say to Hillary, well, I await your instructions.
Maybe rescue as many eggs as you can while they're still uninfected by the worms.
Oh, okay. So are we allowed to pluck them out of the water then?
You are.
Right. Okay. Well, I
You reckon you can rescue... You reckon you can clear a couple of eggs as an action?
Okay. Well,
But
I'll
you
do
bear in
that
mind,
then.
they've still got one of these little winged guardians is still alive.
Yeah, but there's 3
Yeah,
lizard
that's
men
right.
around that.
Yeah,
So
lizard folk. Yeah, it looks like
they're going to dispatch him very quickly.
You'd have thought, as long as they're not doing... Yeah, we'll see. They look torn. They look aghast, Parker, at the development. And they look very distracted from the fight with this thing because they're now obviously desperately concerned about the clutch, because replacing with the clutch on one of these things
All
is
right.
extremely
So,
expensive.
Hillary, where should I put the eggs? In the water where he's
Just
standing?
pull them free of the water.
Right, I'll do that then.
And we move on to Uncle Buggy.
Uncle Buggy, well, am I stuck in this Learman's tiny hut? Very, very
Well, you're not
tiny hut.
stuck in...
With the under construction sign on it.
Why
You're not
why
s-
would you be stuck?
Well, I didn't actually, well, because I wasn't here last week. I
No, we...
someone
we ran-
ran my character.
we ran
so
Bugger.
effectively, I didn't have a choice to go into the
That's
hut.
right.
Ah, yes.
Mike, you need to
We-
update him on the state of Bugraft, don't you?
Oh, Bugraft's fine. I mean,
Okay.
he's fine. He's
Okay.
fine now. The
You said last week.
well, Bugraft, Johnny. What we did last week was we rolled a dice to see who controlled Bugraft each round, and as a result, there was I think what you could describe as a lack of continuity.
Yes.
Lack of concentration.
Yes, and perhaps there might have been
And a lack
Anyway,
of numbers above 10.
the important thing is that it's all fine now. He's alive, and
Didn't he
what
get
would
eaten by a
like to do?
worm?
Let's not get into that. He's currently absolutely fine and alive. And what does he want to do?
So I guess I've stopped raging because
You can pass freely from the hut
And back in again. Out and in.
back in again. The
And
only person
what's
who can't leave
outside
is
the hut?
Burful.
the
Well, there is a sort
It's
of
like Logan's Run, isn't it? It's just like, what's outside the dome?
yeah.
Yeah.
There's
It's transparent. You can see out.
yes, you can see out, and what you can see is that outside the dome.
is that because it was casted in just 1 milliround, it's unfinished,
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
hasn't got a top.
it's got. It's the wrong way up.
Is there anything
like a-
else I should know
like a
about
soup.
it?
It's like a soup bowl. You can see the receding figure of some lizard folk who looks like it was transformed by these green worms into some horrible undead thing, but it's run off. The only other figure that you can see outside the dome, in the entranceway of the lair, is another of the lizard folk who has been conversing with Cuthbert. This one emerged and saw the body of the king, King Charles II, being dragged into the dome by Cuthbert, although she didn't know what that was. And she's had a brief exchange of words with Cuthbert, who has explained to her that you have dispatched and killed the king. And she has said, you must join me, you must follow me now, we must go and save the eggs. Or words to that effect.
All right, well, I'll get out of the half-finished Learman's tiny hut and head over to her.
Okay, fine.
That's it. Fast, ineffective.
She looks at you and goes, oh, marvellous, yes, you must come with me.
My name's Bugraft.
Oh, charmed, I'm absolutely sure. And what do you do?
Never you mind. Buggy, that's my name. Uncle Buggy.
Did you come far? Purple hair, beard.
Purple hairpish.
Yeah.
I guess we're taking off after. How far away is this undead? Is it actually there?
Let's say it's a figure in the distance. Let's not worry about it too
Okay,
much.
so I'm going to take off after Bugraft, I guess.
Cool.
Is that as far as they've moved?
Well, Bugraft has run up to this figure in the doorway. She hasn't set off yet, so you don't know.
Okay. I have no spells left, by the way.
Okay,
everybody.
and let's go back to the egg chamber
Yeah.
and Sessions Epa.
I'll advance down the passageway.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, towards the egg chamber.
Yeah.
Until I can see the remaining guardian monster thing, and I will then
Oh,
do
the little flying winged thing. Yeah.
Toll the Dead, tumbling dice
Okay.
on its head.
So, is that a saving throw from me?
Yeah, DC 14 Wisdom save.
It rolls a 19 and makes that save. Does it not? Does it take any damage?
None whatsoever.
Anything else from you?
No.
Cuthbert, back outside the lair. What would you like to do?
Well, Cuthbert would like to do a quick search of the king, take the trident, and follow the others.
Okay, let's have a look. And the king, he's wearing this odd ceremonial sort of collar yoke style thing.
Yeah.
Yes, it looks ceremonial. It's not particularly of sophisticated manufacture. You don't know that it's of any particular value. He's wearing this belt, which looks like a sort of trophy belt. And as you examine it, Cuthbert, why don't you give me an intelligence check? I know that's not your strong suit.
We've
As you're quickly frisking the king, not a euphemism.
talked about this intelligence thing before.
Yeah, well, I can't help that. But
Oh my God, he rolls an 18.
18, Cuthbert. You recognise this belt.
Yeah.
You've seen it before. You know what it is.
What is it?
You don't know specifically which one it is, but it's a champion's belt. It's the belt that's handed out to the champion in the Even Star gladiatorial arena.
Ah.
And you've seen it. I mean, it's put on playbills and posters around Even Star when the games are nigh, when the games are approaching.
Yes.
It's like the symbol of the competition. It's a very prized thing. Can you give me another intelligence check?
Well, this is where it all falls.
Free action say to, is it Anushka?
Anushka.
Anushka, where are the prisoners? We need their help.
Oh, they're further inside the lair. Our route to the egg chamber. We can go past them.
Good.
I
need them.
Typical true to form.
Yeah.
Cuthbert rolls a 3.
Yeah. So that is. There's something else about this belt that rings a bell of sorts of something.
I'm going to put it on and take the trident.
But you don't get the sense that it's magical. You just think it's valuable.
Yeah, I'll put it on just somewhere to put it.
Hang on, Paul. You know,
Probably
And then-
belongs
it's not
to one of the
yours,
prisoners.
right? It's just.
Let's just get.
I'm just going to
Johnny,
check
let's just
for
get through
you,
this.
Cuthbert, and just make sure there's nothing else on
Just wanna
King
make sure
Charles
you're not getting the wrong
that is
idea.
of note.
Johnny, sorry. what was
Because
it?
you've picked something off a body doesn't mean it's yours.
Like the pipe.
Pipe?
No
What
answer.
pipe? I don't know.
No
Don't know anything about that. Sorry, this is a
No
different character.
answer.
It's a different character. I wouldn't dare do anything like that. Bugger off.
Far too honourable.
Grimbo was a bit of a rogue.
Absolute
Just playing in character.
Doesn't mean you have to be like him, Paul. Anyway, we can roll for that later.
Okay. I think the belt. It
Sounds
will
like
be
a sort of barbarian thing.
well, it sounds like it'll be sold and cash distributed.
He's wearing an amulet. It's on a chain that disappears inside this sort of ceremonial collar, so it takes you a second to spot it. But as you pull on the chain, you reveal this amulet. It looks like it's valuable. It may even be magical.
I'll put it on.
Okay? You don't feel any immediate, sudden change in yourself.
Yeah. And there's a trident as well, wasn't there?
The trident, you know, is magical. It's still, every now and again, there's a kind of little chase of black electric energy zipples up and down its tines.
Okay. I'll grab that.
You don't get a good feeling from the trident. I should say that now.
Okay.
Right, so Hillary. Hillary is going to run up to she's going to ignore this little guardian and the fight going on and splash into the water. Hillary immediately starts making a grab for eggs and trying to retrieve them. The remaining lizard folk attack this thing. The first one, I think who we've got here? Coco, and who else is there?
Chanel.
Hugo, Romilly, Verity, Allegra, Artemis. Okay, so this lizard folk attacking and hits this little guardian thing for a total of 2. There's 5 points of damage on this creature, which lives through that attack. And so this lizard folk will bite at it as well, rolling an 8 and missing, and then moving on from Artemis to Romilly. Romilly is going to strike at it with a club, rolling a 17 and killing the last guardian. The other 2 lizard folk that are left over, Verity and Rufus, run into the lake, try to retrieve eggs. They also seem to be extremely disturbed about the predicament. Now, the other thing that happens is that the worms start spreading. The worms spread 5 feet in all directions from the host egg.
Blimey, okay.
They're filling the 5-foot square around this egg with little worms, and they start nuzzling and burrowing into the eggs that they can reach. Parker, it's your turn. What would you like to do?
Well, I mean, I think our only option is to... Do these worms, do they swim through the water?
Yeah, they swim, exactly. They're sort of... You can't tell whether or not they are... They haven't got gills, right?
Okay. Well, so the only thing that I'm thinking...
Give me an intelligence check, actually, Parker.
Okay.
Or a perception... an intelligence check.
Okay, I roll a 3.
Okay, fine.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my only plan is that we basically make a bit of a fire break by working our way through the middle of the pool, taking away as many eggs as possible. I think that's the only thing we can do, is get as many eggs away from this as possible, to which point we have, there'll be a whole bunch of infected eggs, and then we'll have to basically deal with all of those.
Yeah, I mean,
the alternative is to... if we had area effects, then obviously a fireball would have been what we needed, but we haven't got that here, have we?
You would kill an awful lot of eggs.
Okay, so what I'm basically going to do, and obviously the discussion needs to we had with these other guys, but
in terms of logistics, or if that's the right word for it.
So, chaps, my suggestion is we make a fire break through all the eggs and carry away as many eggs as possible.
Who's this speaking? Is this...
Yeah, he's basically got delusions of grandeur.
I've gone native.
You've got 5 lizard folk, including Hillary and yourself and Sessions, and you think that each lizard folk can clear a square's worth of eggs each go. I mean, this is all slightly metagamey because we're talking in terms of turns and actions and stuff, but hey.
Yeah.
So you think it's doable. Between you can clear quite a lot quite quickly. The issue is the distance travelled, because...
Well, I have long strider, so I can...
As long as you've cleared the eggs out of where you're travelling, you're fine. But trying to wander around in this pool without destroying eggs is going to be quite difficult. You think a roll might be involved if we were to try and do that?
My guess is we start where we are, and we move forward, take eggs away, put them... Take them over to where Sessions is.
Form a chain.
Very good idea.
An egg chain.
Yes.
If you formed a kind of chain, you could... The tip of the chain, as it were...
But the tip of the chain will only clear one square at a time. You'd be much more effective getting 5 people in or something, wouldn't you?
Yes, you would.
But then they've got to walk away with the things and come back again.
They do, but at least initially you would clear an awful lot very quickly and then hit the obstacle of having to go travelling to and from the shore.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
By then, to be honest, if we're talking about...
What's in the caskets?
I mean,
treasure.
You don't know what's in the caskets.
I mean, I'm just going to start taking eggs away.
Okay, so you can clear 1 square of eggs each turn.
Yeah.
But you have to travel to and fro to do so. With your movement, you're going to be able to make it out 4 or 5 squares, 15 or 20 feet out into the pool and still clear an area of eggs without jeopardising your efficiency. The lizard folk may not be as quick.
Lucas, you failed to ask the obvious question.
Did I?
Yeah, you've got to ask when's it going to be an Earth. It's a great yoke.
Anyway, so Parker, you're going to clear some eggs. Let's go back outside the lair to Bugraft, and Anushka the lizard folk can start moving, and you can start moving to Bugraft. Now, we did a lot of this before when we were moving Parker and Sessions around the lair. I don't know that we want to get too hung up on whose action is whose, if you see what I mean, or the action sequence, because you're not all moving independently and then catching up with each other in some strange dance. I think you're kind of moving together. So Burple, Bugraft, and Anushka, and I think we can include Cuthbert. We'll abstract this a little, and we'll start moving you to the lair. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
So you can start hot-footing it into the lair. When you do so, it doesn't take you long to get to a junction point that Cuthbert recognises. He got this far before. It's where your alcove of cowardice is, Cuthbert. Yes. As you get to that junction, another lizard folk comes running up from your west and clearly seems to be, it's sort of slightly taken aback, but seems to be non-aggressive and recognises Anushka, or is obviously a fellow tribe member. And Anushka kind of says, "Oh, they're okay. They're friends of the others. We've got to take them to the egg chamber now."
How lovely.
And she heads off, Cuthbert, down the staircase where you got attacked before.
Yes.
As she does so, she says something. She sort of mutters something strange, something sort of slightly guttural, not the "hello, good afternoon," a sort of kind of weird back of the throat little noise, and she seems to be able to pass freely. She sort of lifts a hand, and where those vines were snaking out from the walls, they recede and let you past.
Oh, lovely.
And you can make it down to the bottom of that little run of stairs, kind of very rough staircase, right into the heart of the lair, where there's some sort of horrible kind of compost pit. But Cuthbert, as you do that, can you give me a perception check?
Perception check, eh?
We're just going to jump backwards and forwards. We're going to do you guys, then we're going to do the guys in the egg chamber until you're
Let's just say I fell with a 10.
Where
Okay.
are you taking us, I say?
To the egg chamber, through the lair to the egg chamber.
Why?
We must protect the eggs. They're under threat. Your friends are there.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to zoom back round to Sessions on 6 in the initiative count. Can you give me a perception check, Sessions?
Yes, I can give that a go. Yeah, perception 17.
17 Sessions. You notice something.
Uh-huh.
Just by the feet of the lizardfolk that slew the last winged guardian, sort of poking out of the sandy floor, it almost looks like it could be a little bit of exposed boulder. You think you see what actually looks like the rounded top of a small chest. It's just tucked away underneath the wall of mangaroo roots and just poking out from under the little sandy, earthy floor.
I will. I'm going to advance.
Yes.
As far as I can move in a move.
Yes.
And then I'm going to. I'm trying to get a sense of whether the mass of worms is a lot of individual worms or one big worm creature.
Yes, I see your question.
Whether it's being treated as a swarm or a million individual.
You think it's a lots and lots of independently not particularly effective individuals rather than one unitary thing that acts as one swarm.
Okay. And then I'm going to keep moving into the water about here.
You're going to move about 5 feet into the water, into
just
the pool and stop.
So that I'm just about the furthest forward person. I'm just trying to get a sense of how quickly this is expanding.
Yeah, okay.
Before I finish my move with one more square. Do I think it's going to... How quickly does it look like it's expanding? Do I feel in danger if I move another square forward?
You don't think so. Looking at the way that the worms are spreading, can you give me an intelligence check?
Intelligence. Okay. Not all that smart. 11.
Let's see how you do. Well, 11 actually is fine, because it's not a particularly difficult thing. It's just that when Parker was given the opportunity to notice this, he rolled like a 3. Your judgment is that the worms are using the water to spread. It's not an obstacle for them. It seems to be a necessity for them.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the speed of spread, you think you're fine to advance a little bit further. They spread about 5 feet since you last acted, and you think they'll probably spread about another 5 feet.
Okay, so
Create and destroy water.
I'm going to step forward to the end of my movement and prepare myself for what may or may not be a very effective round next round.
Okay, are you not? You can't ready because you've used all of your.
I've moved and moved.
Got it. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to quickly go with Parker and a couple of other people, and then we'll pop back to the others. So Parker, what do you want to do?
Okay. Well,
We're
first
sort
of
of
all,
in round sequence. We're sort of not in round sequence. We're slightly improvising here.
yeah, Graham, should you not tell Hillary that about the water? Maybe create or destroy water or something?
I will say they seem to be swimming rather than... Yes, they need the water.
Oh, I say, what an extraordinary astute observation. Parker,
Can you do anything about it, Hillary?
Well, let me have a think. Let me rack my brain.
Check your spell book.
Yes, let me check my PDF.
I'm just wondering what I can do with the elemental attunement. If there's anything, you can move basically a pound. Yeah, water, 1 foot cube. It's not really going to be any effective. Okay, we'll just carry on transporting eggs. I think that's the most effective thing to do at the moment.
Yes, and so do the others. So Hillary is going to think about if they've got anything that might sort of be a better strategy than clearing eggs. But while they think about that, they're going to continue, as are all the other lizard folk.
Yeah.
And you've effectively, at the end of that second turn of actions, you've cleared between you 12 squares of egg, which is probably about 10 to 12% of the full egg load.
Right.
There we go.
Okay.
Have they broken any?
It's not a disaster. I'm saying you haven't. I think you have to be careful if you start tramping around in the pool. But as long as you're being careful and you're only advancing and travelling through areas you've already cleared, you're fine. They're not super robust, but they're not kind of fragile. That's the lizard folk. That is Parker and Sessions. You've all acted. So the last thing for me to do is just to expand the old worms. The worms expand a little bit further, about another 5 feet. They're within 10 feet of you, the edge of their spread now. Sessions, as you sort of tentatively wade towards them. Can you give me a perception check, both Parker and Sessions, and I'll roll one for Hillary while we're at it.
Oh, shit. 8.
Ooh, an 18.
18.
20
Okay,
in total.
Yeah, that's a great roll, Parker. As you glance at the area that the worms have infested in the pool, you can see that clearly they are burrowing into the egg casings. But more concerning than that is that some of the eggs that look like they were burrowed into a while ago, the first eggs, the eggs nearest the dragon egg, looks like they are wiggling around in a sort of pre-hatch kind of mode.
Okay.
Right, we'll pick up the story out back in the lair with Cuthbert and Burple and Uncle Buggy and Anushka the lizard folk. Now, as you push further down this staircase, I'm just going to reveal a little bit more to you as you go. She leads you into a chamber where there are a couple of soldiers trussed up on the floor. They are unconscious, wearing a livery very similar to the livery that's worn by the soldiers in the fortress in Diamond Lake. So you can infer that they are...
What kind of condition are they in? Can we wake them? Can we rouse them?
They're unconscious. You think you might be able to wake them. They're clearly not in great nick.
They'll be able to carry eggs, though.
They might be able to carry eggs. They're tied up currently as well.
Okay.
One other piece of information. Cuthbert, you're trailing along at the back of this little group.
Can I make another perception check?
You don't need to. You hear an altercation. The other lizard folk, the one that came padding out from the west as you were entering the lair just now, she stops. You hear her pattering on behind you, and then she stops dead, and there's a shout from the other passageway, the passageway that led off to where this harpy came from earlier.
Right.
You hear a kind of booming voice go, Bryony! Where on earth are you going? Where's the king? And she goes, the king, he's dead. King Charles is dead. Quickly, the eggs are under threat. Dead? Don't be ridiculous. I'm going to run out there and see what's going on. Our lair is being invaded. And that's kind of it. She says, no, Josh, you must come and help.
You sure he's not called Brian?
No, and so she comes, and you can hear, and she comes padding down the stairs behind you, Cuthbert. Yep.
Otto.
Okay. We'll call that a standard move, so you can take an action as you enter this chamber.
Why have you tied these people up? Why did you kidnap them?
Oh, well, it's rather difficult to understand what is going on around one. Our assumption has always been...
These were our friends. What are they doing on the floor tied up? Why did you kidnap them? Speak quickly.
Our assumption... Well, if you'll let me, little fellow... If you'd let me complete the sentence, let me finish. Our suspicion has always been that it was the soldiers of Evenstar that organised the destruction of our last clutch of eggs and their infestation with green worms. Now, this may not be the case, but this is always...
Of course it
isn't. That has been our suspicion, and that is why we are attacking the keep in the first place. This is why we have taken captives.
You fool.
Oh, dear.
Okay, I'll go and release them. Can I do... What's the cleric spell? Sustain life or whatever. What's it called? It's a cantrip. The one that's...
Uncle Buggy's lost his voice again, isn't he? Uncle Buggy.
You're talking about stabilise.
Stabilise. Can I do
Spare the dying, I think.
Spare the dying. That's it. Spare the dying.
Okay, yeah, you can cast Spare the Dying. It's a cantrip, right? You can pick one of them.
Yep. So I'll pick one of them and do Spare the Dying.
What about Burple Herpish? Does he want to do anything?
Burple Herpish will use his medicine... No, he won't, because he hasn't got any. Will say, can you get someone to look after these people and show us where these eggs are quickly?
Yes, of course. And she shouts back behind you, Bryony, will you attend to these captives if I lead these other gentlemen off to the egg chamber?
Summon everybody. We need everybody.
And Bryony shouts, We'll do, Anushka.
Everyone to lend a hand.
You can hear the sound of sort of general kerfuffle around you, but you don't see lots of lizard folk running around. You don't know where they are, but they may all be on their way to the egg chamber. You don't know.
I'm going to go up to the soldiers and cut their bonds.
Okay, fine. So you cut their bonds, you stabilise one of them, and you've shouted for help.
Yep.
Excellent. And we move back to the egg chamber and Parker.
What did Hillary do last? Didn't Hillary want to consult?
Hillary said that they would clear eggs while they had a think about if
didn't
there was
actually
anything
do
that they could do, and nothing occurred to them. So they said, "I'm racking my brain."
All right. Just a quick questions.
Which is code for Mike looked at the PDF of Hillary's
and
spells, didn't find anything particularly useful.
Sessions, what are you going to do? Are you going to attack this egg with something?
I'm going to try invoking my spirit guardians.
Right.
To protect the eggs.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to give this I'm going to stop carrying eggs just at the moment. I'm going to give see what happens if I do a produce flame on the egg, on the big egg.
On the big egg.
Yes.
Do you need to roll to a hit?
Which I assume still has worms crawling out of it, or are they all?
Yeah, it does. But you think you're looking at it seems to have the speed of the flow seems to have dropped somewhat. You feel like the main rush of worms has come out, but certainly there are a few still emerging, and there are many still wiggling down the outside of it.
Right. Well, can I do the produce flame? I mean, the thing is, it's not an area effect, obviously, but I mean, I'm assuming.
Well, we'll see how you do. I mean, you need to make an attack roll? Yes.
Yeah, I need to make an attack roll.
Okay,
so
I know the armor
let me
class.
just give you an attack roll, and then you can tell me what it does. So the attack roll is an 11.
11 is enough. So, basically, it's a pretty static thing. You're just throwing a gobbet of fire at this stationary area, right? And we're seeing what you're going to get.
So that's 2d8, which is 13 points of...
13 points of damage. 13 points of fire damage on the general area of the egg. You significantly damage those worms that are crawling around the outside of it and still issuing from the top. You don't stop it, you don't destroy them, but you've made a difference.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I think that has value.
It had value. I mean,
yeah,
it's almost as if I was keeping some kind of score.
Yeah. Some kind of tally.
Yeah, some kind of tally.
Yeah. Like on a cribbage ball.
Sessions.
Okay, that'll do me then.
I'm going to cast Spirit Guardians.
Yeah.
Okay, so I call forth spirits to protect me. They flit around you in a distance of 15 feet for the duration.
Yeah.
When you cast the spell, you can designate any number of creatures that you can see to be unaffected by it. I designate all the eggs and all the lizardmen that I can see.
Right.
And me.
And Parker, obviously. And then anyone that I don't designate who enters my my radius takes 3d8 radiant damage.
Right.
Wisdom save to half.
I like it. Ooh. So we need to put a template down on our map here so that we can see which area you've protected. Is that right? Okay, that's lovely.
And then I will gingerly step forward another 5 foot on the diagonal.
Okay, now when you do that, you're going to have to be careful about damaging.
Gingerly step forward, hence.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not even moving at half speed, are you?
I'm moving 1 square, 5 foot.
That's fine. If you move that slowly, there's no danger that you'll damage an egg.
And I guess I'm spreading onto the original egg.
Yes, you are. And so, is this something that you could push against people? The damage is in its turn or your turn? Tell me about the spell.
An affected creature's speed is halved in the area, and when a creature enters the area for the first time on its turn, or starts its turn there, it must make a wisdom saving throw.
It's Granite Kerr, the same thing. That's why I remember it.
Exactly the same thing.
Yeah, so when we get to the turn of the worms, the worm that turned, when we get to the turn of the worms, we will adjudicate how much damage you do on the worms and the egg. While you're doing that, the remaining lizard folk, including Hillary, clear another 5 squares worth of eggs. Seeing what you're doing with your spell, they start moving and clambering around Parker and to the south into the lower portion of the chamber, outside the area that you're protecting with your spell. You're up to about 20% of the total clutch rescued so far, you think. The last thing I need to do is the worms. So, all of the worms, do they get a saving throw?
3d8, they get wisdom 14 save to half.
by my calculation, there are 719 worms in the area of your spell. But luckily, I've got 719 D20 here. I'm going to roll a couple of saving throws.
Treat it as a swarm.
Is it half damage?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter whether or not they save, because they're not resilient enough to resist even half of that damage. You decimate all of the worms within the area of your spell.
Nice one, Graham.
And as a result, earn a bonus Urt dice, which you can keep in your back pocket to be used whenever.
Oh, excellent.
As a result of that piece of cleverness.
Ooh.
Let's pop back to Burple, Bugraft, Cuthbert, and Anushka. Anushka keeps running. She piles out of this chamber and starts heading to your west, beckoning you forwards. Cuthbert, if you follow round, you follow in, you go into a sort of an intermediary chamber. Looks like another sleeping chamber. And now you can see other lizard folk. There's a chamber ahead of Anushka that's just got a pool in it.
Keep following.
And you can see a couple of other figures lying on the ground in front of you. I mean, they're still about 50, 60 feet away.
Yeah.
With your dark vision, you can make out a couple of lizard folk in the chamber ahead of you. They're not facing you. It looks like they're traveling in the same direction as you.
Okay.
I shall move forwards with them.
Okay. And Bugraft?
I can't work out whether friends or enemies, these guys. I mean, can I go off and sneak around and try and find some magic?
Yes, you can do anything you like. You've got one coming up behind you, Bryony, who darts past you as you stand on the stairs wondering what to do next, and starts tending to one of the captives.
I'm going to nonchalantly step off this way, which is down another passage and having.
So you're just picking. There's a couple of little passageways heading off down into the into the lair.
I'll go to the upper.
Yeah, I understand what you're doing. Yeah, I'm just going to show you.
Just
what you
having a quick look around for anything valuable.
You sidle off, trying to look as unsuspicious as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking around as if I'm looking for something like my companions, and I've sort of got lost a bit.
Yeah.
But
So you let the others run past you, and then you sort of start sidling off.
Hello, is anyone there?
Back
Hello?
in down a little side passage. Well, you find a sleeping chamber, and there's another passage leading off the other side of it.
Okay, well, I can probably.
You can hear running feet elsewhere in the lair, but around you, it's really quiet.
Anything obviously valuable?
No, I mean, I can give you a description, but you're not going to find it very interesting because it's got no money in it.
Right, it's just bedrolls or whatever.
Yeah, there's sleeping pallets and some supplies and some stuff.
Moss.
Yeah, really not very much of any interest, I'm afraid.
I suppose that's my go. I've moved far.
And you can see it. I'm just going to reveal. You can see a little bit more. Oh, you don't have dark vision, do you?
No, I can do a light spell.
Okay, so if you do a light spell, you can see that there's a passageway leading off, and that in turn branches off to the north and south, or up and down, depending upon.
Yep.
So it's like a T-junction.
Hello, Mardina, or whatever her name is. Are you there?
Marzana, is that what you're saying?
Marzana, yeah. Marzana, are you there? Are you there?
Okay, fine. I understand your subterfuge. We can go back to the egg chamber.
I will continue to do the attack on the egg.
Yeah.
So that's hitting a armor class 15.
Is a hit, and you do another 2d8 or whatever's worth of damage.
Yes, 2d8 is only 6 this time, but
We're just abstracting it a little. You've done some more damage to the worms. You've definitely helped things. Once again, you get the sense that you've reduced the total, what we refer to in this trade as worm load in the pool.
The worm load, excellent.
You've got a reduced worm load there, Parker. Sessions, what are you going to do? You've got some interesting decision to make here.
I want to get a bit closer.
I thought you might.
But I have to move gingerly, do I?
You have to move gingerly.
I think I want to move southwest 5 foot.
So you're moving sort of diagonally around the face of the worm infestation.
Yes, whilst laying my
your spirit guardians at a different area.
spirit guardians into another big patch of worms, getting a bit closer to where they originated.
Yeah, I get it. We will adjudicate the effect of that when it's worm time.
Mm-hmm.
Our lizard folk friends, including Hillary, clear another 5 squares worth of eggs. They've cleared a total of 10 squares since you started doing this thing, and you're now starting to think, well, hold up. Pretty much all of the pool for the first 15 or 20 feet into the pool is clear of eggs. And then the whole of the northern section of the pool is protected by Session's spell. So you look like you've saved easily 50% of the eggs. Also, Sessions' and Parker's produce flame between them are massively depleting the total worm load.
Right.
Okay.
So it's a damage limitation exercise.
A second turn of damage on the worms by Sessions' spell absolutely depletes them so that they are all dead within the radius of Sessions' spirit guardians.
Including the eggs.
Including the scaly eggs, but not including the pristine eggs. The worm infestation is now firmly pushed back towards one corner of the pool. Right, let's pick up with the others in the lair. So, Anushka runs on ahead of you into a chamber, assuming that Cuthbert and Burp will both follow. There are two more captives in there. One of them is clearly Marzana, the mage. She looks in actually tolerably decent nick, actually.
Is she tied up?
No, she's not tied up. You untied her, didn't you?
Yes, I think I untied her and healed her last
so
time.
she's lying there. She's sort of looks groggy. She's clearly got a very serious injury to her face and her jaw. And there's another captive who's also conscious, also untied. Maybe not looking quite as revivified as Marzana, but definitely in better nick than the others that you've seen already. There are two lizard folk run out of the chamber ahead of you, and you can hear the sound of more lizard folk. You're reaching a sort of a confluence point where all of the different passages in the lair are leading to a particular junction. You presume this is where they're all heading. So there's a concentration of kind of folk. And Anushka joins that throng. What would you two like to do? You want to follow her, or do you want to do something?
Follow her and say to the two captives, if you're up to it, come and help.
Okay. Marzana kind of pulls herself up onto her knees, looks groggy, kind of shakes her head, gets herself up to her feet, looks at the other guard and sort of looks at you and shakes her head like he's not going to be any use. But sort of holding onto a mangaroo branch that sort of that part of the wall structure, she steadies herself and she starts gingerly heading after you. What about Uncle Buggy? What are you doing? You're all by yourself.
Buggy.
You can hear the sound of a lot of movement elsewhere in the lair, but it's all silent where you are.
Well, I am moving out of the sleeping chamber into the corridor, and then I'm heading north up the north passage.
Okay, that makes sense. I understand.
Marzana, are you there?
It's more of the same, Bugrat, if you turn north. But there are a couple of options for you.
And maybe I can see down the south corridor as well before I...
Yeah, well, we'll worry about that in a moment. Looking north, there's another chamber very much like the chamber you're in, some sort of sleeping chamber. It's laid out very much the same way. It's very much the same size. There are a couple of exits from that chamber. One heading further north, so in the northwestern corner of that sleeping chamber, there's some steps going up. Over to the northeastern corner, it's an inverted triangle, if you like, with the point at the base, and you're at that point. And then at the top, you've got two exits. One is a set of stairs going up to the northwest. Another is a set of stairs going down to the northeast. Going the other way, if you turned south, if you turned left at your T-junction, you can see more options. You can see that there is another choice to be made if you head that way. You can go left or east, which your senses would take you back the way you came, or you could go right where there looks like a staircase, and that's where the noise seems to be coming from. That's where all the motion and activity seems to be coming from.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Where do I think the King's Chamber might be?
Good question. You don't know enough about it. Yeah, we just don't know.
Yeah. Well, I've got a hunch. So I'm going into the middle of the upside down triangular chamber. I'm heading towards the northwest corner going,
Marzana, are you there?
Can you give me a perception check, Uncle Buggy?
Yeah. An 11.
So a couple of things that you notice when you peer at that northwestern staircase that leads up. First is that dotted on the top kind of couple of steps that you can see within the area that's eliminated by your light spell, and dotted on the kind of banks or the earthy banks as they meet the walls, some strange looking mushrooms. Not giant mushrooms or anything like that, but just sort of bright spotted mushrooms. You can hear the sound of some motion up those stairs. It's an odd motion. It's like a sort of rustling, clicking sound. And you can smell something that way. It smells foul. You can smell decay.
Oh, like a maggoty green wormy thing?
Oh, I don't know that was that. It's not like the weird, sweet kind of ghoul stench that you picked up in the forest. You'd recognise that in an instant, Bugraft. You've encountered the ghouls up in the Cairn Hills. It's not the same smell at all. No, this is much more of a kind of an organic, earthy, decayy smell. What do you want to do?
Well, I've gone as far as I can.
You've gone as far as you can.
So that's the northwest corner, is
That's
it?
the northwest corner. Northeast corner, some stairs going down and no particular interesting kind of features about them. I mean, you think that if just following your nose, that was going to be sort of leading you back towards the entrance of the lair, if not directly, but by degrees.
I'm just wondering where the king's chamber is.
Yeah, no, I know you are, but
I reckon it must be up those stairs to the northwest, Johnny.
Well,
I mean, there must be magic in there and money.
What would Parker like to do in his turn?
Well, I think just need to carry on clearing this area. So carefully move forward to where Sessions is, and then another
blast of your produced flame. Yep.
Another blast of the produced flame.
Okay, give me. I mean, as long as you don't make a dreadful roll, you're going to be making progress. But let's see what you get.
Roll a
perfectly fine.
19, 2d8.
Mostly now, you really feel like you've done the lion's share, as it were. And what about Sessions?
Yeah, I guess I will move towards where the mass is, which I guess is to my west. If I can move cautiously 10 feet, I think I probably can.
Yeah, you'll probably take all of it within the cloud of spirit guardians. Meanwhile, Hillary and the lizard folk, they've cleared most of the eggs out of the kind of the eastern side of the pool. You could just detect from them a sense of sort of relief and triumph, and they're looking at you with almost outright admiration. And so the final thing that we need to adjudicate is the worms. They are all within your spell sessions, and I am going to not be picky about this. They are all destroyed.
Yeah.
Hurrah!
As they sort of shrivel up and the infected eggs shrivel up and fall apart. I mean, maybe but for a couple of stragglers. You can see the shoulders of the lizard folk behind you slump in relief. A couple of them actually drop to their knees on the beach with the rescued eggs. And at the same time, you hear the sound of more lizard folk joining you. They start emerging from the tunnel to your east. And as they rush into that chamber and they see what's happened, they're just exultant and relieved because you've done a good thing. Now,
Blessing of misfortune.
I need Sessions and Parker to give me a... you can choose Arcana or Religion, but could you both give me either an Arcana or a Religion check, please?
Well, I roll a 9 plus 3, a 12.
Okay.
I'm also going Religion. I get a 13 Religion check.
Total.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that not good enough?
Well, no, it sort of is. I mean, it's maybe not everything that you needed. You think...
Well, maybe I'll throw in my normal Ort dice, since I now have an extra Ort dice.
Oh, okay.
This
Waited
week's
for me
normal
to-
Ort.
Yeah, okay.
Ort
I
dice.
massively misled you with my tone of voice, I hope. Yeah, that makes no difference, and you still learn nothing. Now you got to roll a 2, and then roll a 1 on the d6. I can only hope.
No, I roll a 13, so I get the same number, and now I get to roll my d6.
Rolling a
1. Bound to be a 1.
5
no.
for an 18.
Okay, an 18 is a different level. Sessions, where you've laid waste to, but specifically where Parker has laid waste to the worms with his produced flame, where fire has damaged them specifically, there's a sort of weird, wet, green-brown paste residue left there.
Mm-hmm.
And you've something in the back of your mind, you're not quite sure why, makes you think that perhaps that form of the worms, sort of destroyed and sort of burnt worms in a sort of paste, might actually be useful. Sort of like a vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Very timely. Do you think it might have some preventative or curative effect?
Yeah, smear it all over your skin. They
I'll
won't...
scoop some up then.
Well, I mean, you can collect everything that's there or close
I'll
enough.
collect. Yeah. We'll
Okay,
collect
fine.
that.
You're not exactly sure how you would then use it to, actually turn it into something useful, but you just think that the raw material is there and you should collect it. Excellent.
We might do some research on that later.
Yes.
And all we need to do now is reunite our heroes. So, Burple, and Anushka and Cuthbert. Anushka leads you down a passageway. She says, "Your friends are this way. You're perfectly safe." And if you follow her, you swim briefly and you emerge at the other side. And there you see your friends, Sessions and Parker. And then there are lots of lizard folk. They beam at you as you approach. "Oh, your friends have saved the catch. Oh, we're so super grateful. We're thrilled. Okay, Uncle Buggy.
Uncle Buggy.
On his lone mission of avarice.
Attempt.
The lair is
Yes.
dead quiet now, Bugraft. There's no sound of any motion.
There are no clues to which way the king's chamber is.
There
No.
are signs all the way through the lair with king written on them. No, there's no to the throne.
No, there might be some sort of, I don't know.
You seem to be in a section of the lair, which is a network of sleeping chambers for the normal folk. That's what you think you're in. Now, what happens if you explore further, you don't know, but that's what you seem to be in.
All right, and okay, I'll head to the dodgy northwest corner, and I'll proceed with slightly cautiously.
Okay, well, you're at the base of these stairs. The smell is ever stronger as you get to that point.
Okay, I'll carry up the stairs carefully. If I see some horrible shambling mound or something, I'm gonna...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you were to see a shambling mound. You pad your way up these steps, holding the light spell above you, and you reveal a chamber. The smell is not good. It's surrounded by roots and earth, and it smells like garbage and rotting vegetation. And shit.
It's the toilet. You successfully discovered the latrines.
Whatever lizard folk waste smells like, it smells like that. It's some sort of cesspool, some sort of garbage pit. There are puddles of foul water that you can see. This is you're just sort of peering into the chamber from maybe the penultimate step on the way up. There are piles of animal and vegetable matter. There are bright spotted mushrooms coating pretty much all of the surfaces. And then there are bits of matter being rolled up into balls by beetles the size of your hand that are just sort of collecting detritus and making little balls that they then roll around. That's what you can see.
Right, well, it's not the king's chamber, obviously, it's the bog. So,
It did sound like a combination between my kitchen and my toilet.
yeah.
Nice.
So there is no king's chamber as far as I can see. They must have forgotten
Well,
to...
Johnny, you actually have missed an area. You've missed an area. If you look at the southeastern part, there's a... Yeah.
What's this?
You've come through it.
Sessions and Parker, who got a little bit more time to look into that chamber, saw some sort of raised area that looked like it supported a throne of some sort.
What?
Away in his non-metagame world, Bugraft is blissfully unaware of this and is peering into the cess chamber.
Hang on.
We will...
Are you joking about the raised area for the throne?
No, we're not joking about it, Bugraft, but you don't know anything about that. You've never been in that area. You've not spoken to anybody who's ever been there.
Anyway, I didn't go into that room, so I'm coming out, back through the triangular room, back to the junction, and then I'm heading south.
Okay, yeah, so you can kind of start... Suddenly you're taken with the sudden urge to rush to your south. And you do so. Okay, fine. Meanwhile, in the egg chamber...
Mazida!
Let's pull things together. In the egg chamber, we can come out of round sequence. You are heroes.
Mm-hmm.
You're fated by...
Thanks.
I don't know about you. Yeah,
No,
were you
not
there?
about-
I didn't
not
even,
about Uncle Bug.
What do you mean?
Uncle,
I
you didn't even come into the chamber.
did the spare the dying on one of them.
So, Graham, do you have Dispel Magic? Does anyone have
I do, but I've run out of spells.
No, just generally. I'm
I have
I'm
the spell.
thinking of leveling up. Do I take... I won't bother with that one.
I haven't.
I take...
What level are we?
We're 5th, about to be 6th.
Oh, we're about to be 6th. Do we know that?
Yeah. I
We've only just gone up a level, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been quite recent. But it's a
Yeah,
milestone.
but before
so
this,
it's
no, but
milestone
it was
awards.
before this whole
Yeah.
campaign, this bit, wasn't it? We went up a level before we started the journey into the swamp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's usually 3 levels per book.
I mean, we have done quite. I mean,
These are probably 2
this
levels
was a
of
bit
book,
the
aren't
sort
they?
of like
Like-
the boss
Yeah,
level
probably.
fight here.
Yeah.
We've gone in and we've basically saved these lizard folk and restored diplomacy.
Yeah, by not fighting our way all the way through, we've been very clever.
Oh, thanks.
Take a long rest.
You're heroes.
Yes, we are. Yes.
Hooray!
The twisted... The twisted branch
Thank you
tribe.
very much.
The twisted
Thank
branch.
you. Thank you.
The Twisted Branch tribe fate you as heroes because you've basically saved the thing that was most important to them, which is their clutch of eggs. And it's become clear to Hillary, who seems to be the new force in the tribe, that their suspicions that it was the malevolence of Evenstar that had destroyed and infected their last clutch of eggs, that was
wrong,
mistaken, and that Ilthane, whoever this Ilthane is, this black dragon that came to them and offered to protect their next clutch of eggs and encouraged them to take revenge upon the fortress at Blackwall Keep, was clearly a bad actor.
Bad egg.
A bad egg. Yeah, very good.
Very good.
And
do we know where this dragon lives?
No. Hillary doesn't know very much about Ilthane. Ilthane dealt with King Charles II and King Charles II pretty much exclusively. And much of King Charles's powers came from Ilthane, who seemed to lend King Charles some of its energy.
But Hillary only knows Ilthane as a dark presence out in the swamp.
The king would go out and meet Ilthane. The rest of the tribe were not included in those meetings.
What they would like you to do,
first of all, they are going to make good on their bargain with you, which is that if you destroyed the king and you undertook to take a peace message to the forces of Evenstar,
that they would return the captives to you.
Now, when you search the chests that you found in the egg chamber, you find some items. You find potions.
So we're allowed to search chests?
Yeah, the chests were left by Ilthane and were fiercely protected by... There were kobolds, these little winged kobolds, these guardians that Ilthane left to protect the egg chamber. With them out of the way, the lizard folk have no interest in these chests at all, and there were nothing to do with them.
Right.
And now that the kobolds are out of the way, and now that you're heroes, they have absolutely no reservations about you helping yourselves to whatever it is that Ilthane saw fit to store in those chests.
Is that the three chests on the far side, or the 3 chests plus the half-buried chest?
So the 3 chests on the far side of the pool, which I'll talk to you about now, and then there is the small chest that Session spotted in the middle of that encounter, and I'll give you the details of that chest as well. One thing at a time.
Okay, go for it.
First of all, the 3 chests between them contain 5,320 silver pieces.
Sorry, how much?
5,320 silver pieces.
I'm writing this down.
1,930 gold pieces. 21 platinum pieces. And then there are 6 dark glass vials. You're not sure what they are, but they don't look like just normal little bottles of stuff. In the little chest that Session spotted were 4 more dark glass vials. Just to be clear, they're not all identical. There are similarities between some of them, maybe the main rump of them, but 2 or 3 of them look a little bit different to the others. Can't really tell you very much more about them than that. And then I don't think they've got any issue with you retaining what they regard as being a cursed or blighted item, the trident. It was given to King Charles by Ilthane.
Well, I was going to offer it back to Hillary. I was going to offer it up.
It is an evil object, and I think it brings nothing but bad fortune to our tribe. You may keep it should you wish, Cuthbert.
Okay. Thank you.
It's not yours, Cuthbert.
There's the amulet, Cuthbert. You found it on his body, and it's a question of whether or not you reveal that you have it.
Wasn't he standing next to Burple?
Oh, no, I'm not talking about whether or not Cuthbert conceals it from you
gonna...
guys. I'm talking about whether or not the lizard folk know that Cuthbert has King's amulet.
No, I'm absolutely going to reveal it. I was going to offer these bits from I found on the king back to them.
Okay, so you've got there's the belt.
Trophy belt.
When you hold the belt up to them and say, here are all of the items I retrieved from the body of your king, kind of thing, can everybody else in the group, apart from Uncle Buggy, so Burple, Parker and Sessions, give me intelligence checks when Cuthbert produces this belt? You've all seen it before, you've seen it on the king, but when he produces it and he sort of talks about what he thinks it might be, 17 from 17. Parker, you recognise that belt. You've seen a belt just like it before, and not on the king. The person you saw wearing that belt was Fankum.
That's Chang.
Undefeated.
Okay.
Champion of Evenstar.
So I offer it back to Hillary.
Yeah, that's where you've seen it before. So Chank Fankum wears a very similar belt. That's the first thing, this piece of side information. There's the...
Can I offer it back to Hillary?
Oh, thank you. Yes, it is one of the treasures of our tribe, and a reminder, a memento of before our king was corrupted by evil, and when he was a genuine hero.
They're also
And
delighted
where-
to receive
Where
back.
did they get it?
They don't
What-
want this.
He won it. He was the champion.
Where?
Well, in Evenstar.
And the amulet?
The amulet, they would love the amulet back. The amulet...
Yes,
Oh,
of course.
thank you. It is a holy artifact of our tribe. The yoke, this monstrous collar with the representation absolutely of our holy lord, Baron Shiny head, but also Ilthé the dragon. It is a corrupt object and we have no need for it. We should destroy it.
Okay, well, I'll give it back to her anyway so she can destroy it.
Now, the other thing I should tell you about is that the materials taken from your friends here were stowed away in the throne room by King Charles.
Well, I guess we have to give it back.
Oh.
Sigh. When we left it, Blackwall Keep was under siege
By these.
Well,
people.
yes, this is very
we
difficult.
obviously need.
they'd left.
This is very
Right.
difficult. We have no means of communicating with them. I'm not sure
Except you
what
could come
we will
with us.
find. I will travel with you to the keep now. Yes,
Okay.
so that should any remnants of our attack force have survived, I can communicate to them the new situation as regarding the tribe.
Who at Evenstar are we?
The
are we-
companionship of the Broken Staff, who are the martial order, who are the rulers of Evenstar, control all of the protectorate territory around. They are the organization that man these keeps, Blackwall Keep and Marsh Keep. They also man the fortress at Diamond Lake. I cannot approach these people by myself, but with you and you vouching for me, we can perhaps communicate a message that will be passed up, as it were, through the ranks to their command.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can talk about this on the way, can't we?
Absolutely. I think that if you wish to rest and recuperate, I think it might be wise. The captives, including Marzena, could certainly do with some more restorative magics and some sleep and rest. Evening is now fully upon us. Perhaps we rest overnight and head to the keep tomorrow morning.
That sounds like a marvellous idea.
As you rest overnight, and as you set off towards the keep the next morning, trudging into the marsh, actually, things are a little better. The grim weather has cleared a little, almost in an echo of your mood and your status as sort of heroes. The sun peeps out from behind the clouds quite a bit. The going is easy with the lizard folk to guide you across all of the easiest areas to traverse, and you make good time the next day. As you do so, you feel the power of Urt descend upon you, and you rise to 6th level.
Hey.
And then you continue your journey. It takes you the best part of a day to get back to the keep, and when you get there, you find the scene very much changed. There are a couple of tents with the livery of the Brotherhood of the Broken Staff. Clearly, troops have made it this far out from Diamond Lake on Hesty's instructions since you've disappeared into the marsh on your new adventure.
Mm-hmm.
As you sort of straggle up from the marsh up the hill.
Straggle?
Okay, as you triumphantly
Emerge triumphantly.
As you emerge triumphantly from the marsh and stride up towards Blackwall Keep in your pomp and glory, you are met by Habadi Bablish, who is the Lieutenant Commander of Blackwall Keep, and Michaela Venderin, who you've met before. She is a lieutenant at the fortress in Diamond Lake. She tells you that she's very pleased to see Marzena. She has instructions to return to Diamond Lake with Marzena so that Hesty Testapod can speak to her. The lizard folk have been killed or have fled. They eye Hillary with great suspicion until you vouch for her. And then there is a conversation where the situation is laid out before them around the misunderstanding around the destruction of the Clutch of Eggs, and how a black dragon had convinced their king that the people of Evenstar were at fault for it. Michaela Venderin wants to escort Marzena back to Diamond Lake, but then there's a bit of a kind of an awkward moment, and Habadi Bablish has sort of always been standing behind Michaela Venderin a bit, and sort of scratching, started looking slightly uncomfortable and looking a little bit awkward while all of this has been going on. Once the main conversation has taken place, he says, "The thing is, chaps, that I've got a bit of a problem here at the keep, and I need your help with it. You see, the problem, and it's rather embarrassing to talk about it, is that I have this terrible rash. No, not. Is that
all the loos are blocked up.
A long time ago, the old wizard who used to be stationed with us, who Marzana was the replacement for, said, it was my understanding, that he had disappeared. He had become lost in the marsh. Turns out he wasn't lost in the marsh at all. Something nasty happened to that wizard, and we've walled him away down in the keep, down in the basement, down in the cellar. And it's all been fine for a while now. And then during the assault, they got in, didn't they, the lizard folk? And a couple of them managed to break through the barricade we'd erected. And we didn't realise it at the time, but he's got out, hasn't he? And he's grabbed a couple more. And now they're in there. We've walled them up, but we don't have the strength. We don't have the resources to deal with them. It would be terrific if you would. Let's walk up towards the keep now, and I'll tell you about it. I do need to just tell you one thing about this problem. That they do seem to have a bit of an issue with being infested with green worms.
Why am I not surprised?
We'll pick it up next time.
More bloody green worms. Yes, we need to talk to Hesty about that, don't we?
The Billowing Hilltop podcast is a Billowing Hilltop production. Dungeons & Dragons is a trademark of Wizards of the Coast. Encounter at Blackwall Keep and Age of Worms are copyright Paizo. Encounter at Blackwall Keep was written by Sean K. Reynolds. Music is from Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com and is used with thanks under the Creative Commons license. Additional music and sound effects come from the wonderful Sirenscape. All other original material is copyright Billowing Hilltop. Role-playing games are all about getting people together, and we use Roll20 as our tabletop, the perfect place to host your game, and Discord to host our chat. Thanks for listening!